Hi guys, welcome to Big Loz Official. Liz is here today. We're doing our after report
After show party
for the Brian Shaw Classic. Really enjoyed watching it over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great to see some strongman because we didn't see Worlds, did we?
No, obviously we didn't see Worlds. We've still got to wait to watch that later in the year.
The last proper strongman show we watched, was it the Arnolds? Or Britain's? It's been a while.
Well, we were live at Britain's. That was January. The Arnold's was March time.
Yeah, so for a full competition, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, other than the feats of strength things, we haven't really seen live contests, or as close to live as possible. Yeah. But really good show actually. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Firstly, I think we both said beforehand we liked the look of the events.
Yeah.
Brian picked out 6 really cool events and just good, solid strongman events. Mm-hmm. Equipment was good. I enjoyed the commentary. I know Magnus on there.
Magnus is such a gem, isn't he? I adore Magnus. Do you know what? Magnus is best at talking after a competition when he's had a few drinks. I tell you then Magnus can talk.
Then he can talk.
We've had many late nights with Magnus. That's when you get
the best stories from Magnus.
Yeah, you do. Magnus is great. Bless him.
No, I thought it was a really good show.
I did too.
I thought it was put together well.
They didn't have much time either, you think. I mean, I know it wasn't live. They were uploading it the following day. But that's a lot of content to edit down and everything. So, while, people will say, oh, maybe they could have this, this and this. I think for a first show, it was really clean. It was fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, it was good. And I think the fact that it was...
snappy.
I'm a diehard fan that would love to see things live.
Of course.
But I think the fact that it was put together, it made it a bit more... free-flowing to enjoy watching the show. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to wait for the in-between guys getting to the bar and stuff like that.
Yeah, because watching the Arnold's live, it basically takes all weekend, doesn't it?
No, it was really good. We're going to go back to day one.
Yes.
First event was the log lift. And to be quite honest, no huge surprise with this one for me.
No.
Luke Stoltman taking the win, which with the athletes in the contest... was probably what I would expect.
Yeah.
I think it was fair to say a little bit down on what he's capable of.
Yeah, but he said himself that he hasn't actually trained a heavy log because obviously he was training for Worlds, no max log there. And it was a while before that he was training for the Worst Feats of Strength. So, if you're not
he's done a lot of heavy log lifting this year. I think sometimes your body just needs a bit of a break.
Yeah, he's probably a bit taxed.
So I'm pretty sure he was pleased to take the win on that event.
Yeah, definitely. And not have to push that much harder to get it.
He ended up with 207.
207.
But actually, a couple of the lifts before that looked a little bit ropey. So it almost got better as it got heavier.
Yeah.
Good way to start the contest for Luke. Brian Shaw, Trey Mitchell, impressive.
Yeah, I've been really impressed by
Trey. He was very, very good this whole weekend, actually.
Yeah.
Really impressed me. And you've got to remember with Trey, he stepped in last minute.
Yeah. There's been no real preparation for this. No specific training for this at all.
Not at all. So sorry, I was saying Brian, Trey and Maxime taking second place, or joint second on the log. But pretty kind of...
as you'd expect on the log lift, I agree. So the second event on day one was the 500 kilo or 1,100 pound yoke race. So it was over 60 feet. Is that just under 20 meters? We don't do feet, do we?
Yeah, it's just shy of 20 meters.
Okay, so 500 kilo yoke, just under 20 meters with a turn in the middle.
Novikov proving how quick he is and explosive on, the dynamic athlete, so quick, powerful, showing he's still in great form from World's Strongest Man. Your pick to win the whole show?
He was my pick to win the whole show. Let's not talk about that yet. Or ever. Whichever.
Taking the win here on the yoke race.
Yeah.
He finished in a time of 13.96 seconds for the course. This is a course where you go one way, drop it, turn yourself, pick it back up and come back again. So it's a little bit tougher than just a one-way, drag race, if you like.
Yeah.
But how quick you can be in the transition can save a lot of time. Some guys take a bit too long and lose a good 3 or 4 seconds while they're turning.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're quicker, drop the yoke, turn quickly, get straight back up and go again, can really save you time. But he was by far the fastest athlete in this.
Especially when you consider second place JF did it in 18 seconds. That's a whole 5 seconds slower.
And the big surprise for me is JF coming second in this event.
Yeah, because you said, didn't you?
Well,
You're like, oh, these aren't great events for JF. If we're going to be talking about getting things wrong, I think you said more wrong than I did.
well, we'll go into a bit more detail in a bit, but JF messaged me.
Yeah, he did message you. What did he say? I'm going to get this up on the screen.
Yeah, JF messaged me, and we're good friends, okay? And he takes what I say in these videos the right way, he really does, because he knows, I like
he doesn't take anything.
Doesn't take anything too personally. No. He's like, I like it when you don't kind of put pressure on me.
Yeah, because of Worlds, you are.
Yeah, obviously it was. Yeah, but no, he's done awesome, and for him to come second on the yoke, that's a big performance.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Because you've got guys like, Terry was in this contest. He's a good yoke wrestler. Bish.
Yeah.
Bish is awesome at yoke.
Yeah.
Didn't start off the best. Bish got better and better as this contest went on.
He did, yeah.
He didn't start as well as maybe I would have expected on some of the events.
No.
But 6th for Bish on the yoke, considering he won the yoke at Worlds.
Yeah.
So don't know, maybe jet lag or there's so many factors that can come in with strongman. You just don't know. You don't know if people are carrying a small injury. You don't know if they're just fatigued. Their bodies are put through so much intense training, such heavy weights that you're lifting on a constant basis, that sometimes your body just needs a bit of a break.
Yeah, of course.
And all the athletes, particularly these guys, they would have looked to be peaking for Worlds.
Yeah.
It's not that long after Worlds.
Yeah.
They're looking for that downtime. It's not a huge turn. It's a quick turnaround in terms of preparation time for this. And I would have expected a quicker time from Bish, but I know myself, I've been in that position before where one comp goes brilliant, the next comp, particularly when you're out early on an event. It's sometimes better when you get to go last, because you get into that rhythm of getting yourself fired up. You know what times to beat, etc.
Yeah, you see how other people are doing, and
But so what did we have? We had Novikov winning the yoke, then JF, Brian, nice solid performance from Brian, and this was kind of the real performance from Brian through the whole contest was just his consistency.
Yeah, he was
very solid performance. Yeah. You can see with Brian as well, and I think this is his thought process. I think Brian was better when he was younger. I think he took a few more risks when he was younger. Sometimes when you take a risk, and what I mean by that is you really push it. You go 100% on, say, the yoke. When you do that, there's a chance you can make a mistake. I think Brian holds back to sort of 90% on all events, or most events, to place consistently high. And that's why, he does so well, because every event he's always doing well. But sometimes I watch him, I think he's capable of more.
Yeah, he's
do you know what I mean?
Isn't he? Yeah, you can see
it's like
him
he's
thinking.
You see the likes of Novikov, and it's just quick transition, pick it up and run.
Yeah.
Brian, you can tell he's like where my hands have to go, and it's that. I really respect it. It's that methodical approach, but I think for some things,
how much does it cost?
It's just a little bit of overthinking.
Yeah.
But I say that, and it allows for that very solid, consistent performance all the time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you have to respect about him when he performs. Jerry Pritchett, good solid performance, coming in 4th on that one, and Trey Mitchell again with a good consistent performance, taking 5th. So event number 3 was the Farmers Medley, which was a really cool event. Very, very brutal. So there was the first set of farmers, which weighed 350 pounds, approximately 160 kilos.
And that's per hand, isn't it?
Yeah. One in each hand. Then on to the next set of farmers, which was 170 odd kilos, 380 pounds. And if you watch this event and you see these particular implements, they're the kind of round cylinder ones.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you from experience, these are a lot harder than a normal farmer's. What they do, the handle is inside the cylinder, so when you lift it, it just knocks against your legs real quickly, especially if you're an athlete with big legs.
Yeah.
And you could see it wasn't a huge distance that they had to cover, but you could see for some of the guys, some of them really struggled, and even the ones that got all the way, you could see they were starting to go down towards the end. And these were just the warm-ups before the 400 kilo frame, which was 400 kilo frame without straps. That's pretty challenging.
Yeah.
After doing those 2 events, or the 2 farmers, to warm you up, if you like.
Your grip's already been, putting things down, putting them up again. It's already really taxed grip.
It was, and this was another. It's an event. I love these type of events, and enjoyed watching it. And Jerry Pritchett absolutely smashed it.
Yeah,
didn't
he did. Yeah. And I would have picked Jerry to. I would have thought Jerry would do well on this.
Jerry's always good. You know Jerry's grip's good. He's a good mover.
Yeah.
You know, he's always done pretty well at the frame at the Arnold's. But it was one I thought maybe watching Novikov at World's Strongest Man, where they did the farmers back and forth. He looked really good.
Yeah.
But Jerry this time really, really solid.
Yeah. I thought Kevin would win this, and Kevin did finish it. So most of them didn't finish it, did they? Most of them didn't do the frame.
Yeah, I mean, some guys didn't even get to the frame, and then a couple of guys sort of only a few inches with the frame.
Which
some
goes
of
to
them
show
about
how
halfway.
tough this event was. It was a
Oh, it was brutal.
It was great to watch. It's great to sit there with a snack.
With me not being in this, like if I was competing in that, how would that have been to watch?
It depends. If you were competing and there was a day delay, I would have already known the results. You would have told me.
Sure.
So I would have watched it. If it's live, I wouldn't have watched it. So that happened 2018 World's Ultimate Strongman in Dubai. There was a free live stream. I could have checked in at any time. I didn't watch a single thing. I followed it on, because it would have been easier to read it than to see it if something went wrong or something bad happened to you. Because I'm just so scared of watching something terrible happen, and I'm on the other side of the world and there's nothing I can do, and I'm just crying at the TV.
One thing I think that's good to point out with this comp, there was no real major injuries or anything like that.
No, there wasn't. So that's always nice.
Yeah, no, it's good to see all the athletes I think Terry Holland's had a little bit of an injury, but most of the guys...
Brian said he twinged his back a little bit on the deadlift, but he went on to do pretty well in other events after that.
Didn't seem to affect him too much. No. So, I mean, and let's be honest, strongman comps, you're always going to have aches and pains, cuts, bruises, etc. But when you get through a heavy show with no injuries, that's always a good sign.
Yeah, that's a win in its own.
It definitely is. So, finishing the Farmers Medley, Jerry Pritchett taking the win. Yeah. Really good performance from Kevin and Maxime. So, was it Maxime was second?
Yeah, Maxime was second. Yeah, Maxime was second, sorry.
Maxime,
overall.
then
Kevin.
Then Brian Shaw.
Then Brian, then JF.
JF with another, and again, there's me going...
slagging off on poor JF.
he knows. He knows I love him. But yeah, a good solid top 5 from those guys. And that ended day 1.
Yes.
Leaving Brian in the lead?
Brian was in the lead by half a point over, I want to say JF.
I thought it was Jerry.
Hold on. Jerry.
And the surprise...
Is that Loz was right?
No. The surprise, JF Caron. Because this was the day I thought he'd struggle, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah. We knew day 2 was all right for him, but...
Yeah, with the deadlift, that's going to be a solid event for him.
Yeah.
But I was so pleased to see him doing well.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny is that you condemn people. You're like, no one ever talks about JF. Everyone writes more, and you did it. You were guilty. Bad friend.
It's look. If I was just going on friendships with athletes,
I'd have been
you'd get bored of me kind of going on about certain people all the time. It's trying to think logically. But the great thing about strongman and any sport is you don't know what's going to happen. Sure, we can predict things, but that's the fun bit of being a fan. There's plenty of times I've been to competitions and I'll look at what people say and people will write you off or people will big you up and it's you can only go and perform, and these are 10 of the best strongmen in the world. It's what's great about sport, and it's why I love doing these chats that we do, the predictions that we do, because that's the fun bit. And then you watch it and you get behind your favourites, and it's brilliant. But I like joking about. I like kind of thinking about who I think will do well, and us having a bit of banter about who we think we will maybe have to do, like the forfeits, etc. All that kind of stuff. Always happy when people prove me wrong as well. There's something,
and we like JF. JF's he's a good friend, like you said, so we want to see him to do it.
Anyway, end of day 1, we had Brian Shaw in the lead with 23 points. Half a point behind was Jerry Pritchett. Really good start by Jerry. And expected. Jerry, then next event, deadlift, you're thinking, this guy's going to go on and dominate. And then JF in 3rd, Maxime Boudreau 4th, Novikov in 5th. So Novikov's first day, great performance on the yoke, but probably what we consider quiet for him.
Yeah, he said he was tired, didn't he?
Not surprised. He's just
one
world's strongest man. He's probably had a lot of media stuff to do.
Yeah.
I think he even said himself, he's hardly trained at all since Worlds.
The same thing happened to Martins last year, if you remember. A few weeks after they were in Wembley, at one point he was in last place. He managed to scrape it back to get on the podium. He took third overall, but it's, it's hard straight after a big win and a massive come down afterwards, I imagine. A release.
On to day 2. So day 2 kicks off with the Hummer Deadlift, a real classic from the Arnolds a few years back. Brian Shaw. Now, one thing I wanted to point out on this event that I noticed straight away. First thing, no suits allowed. No athletes were using a suit at all, which I, again, think is a good choice. And no figure of 8 straps were allowed. That's
So same rules as the Arnolds.
As the Arnolds. So the Arnolds, they're not allowed a suit on this deadlift, same conditions.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see. And made a difference to maybe some of the results people would expect. I think...
and the good thing about that is it means they can legitimately compare the world record to Zydrunas' world record.
Yeah, so Zydrunas' world record was
1,155.
The guys in this contest were kicking off with 830 pounds, which is
quite far away from the world record.
Miles away from the world record, but still a big weight. It's around 370 something kilos.
We're not mathematicians, clearly.
Let's go 372, and
okay.
I'll check.
That sounds correct. That's not correct. It's 377 kilos.
We're working kilos over here.
Yeah.
But so 377, 380 kilos. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Let's give it an Instagram 380.
Yes, let's.
All the athletes kicked off with this weight, pulled it.
Point out that Terry withdrew from the competition at this point, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Which is a shame. Hopefully it's not an injury, and maybe he just wasn't feeling it. I don't know.
Yeah, surprising performances from Terry, but who knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So we move on with the athletes, and I believe everyone gets the opener.
Everyone gets the opener. A couple of guys then start passing certain lifts. It was absolutely mental, actually, because from the first lift to the last lift, there were 12 jumps in weights.
I think one thing that was different about this than when they did it at the Arnolds. At the Arnolds, the athletes nominate their lifts.
Yeah, so you choose 3 weights, don't you?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Whereas this setup was like a last man standing, but the athletes were allowed to skip lifts.
Yeah.
So most of the guys decided to go with
skip
the
a couple.
first few.
Do you know who didn't skip any until he failed? Was Trey.
So
Trey did every single.
He did about 9 lifts in a row.
He did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. He failed on the 8th lift.
Okay.
That's some going, isn't it?
That is
It's
good,
like,
especially. I mean, I don't know how long he would have had between each lift.
No.
But I'm sure with people pulling out at certain points, skipping lifts.
It wasn't that long. No.
And he impressed me again.
Yeah, he did really well. He was.
So we won't go through every round,
No.
but let's get to. I mean,
get to the really
how many
juicy
guys
stuff.
got to 1,000 pounds?
So it went from 980 to 1010, and at 1010 we still had Trey, Bish, Novikov was still in the competition. He passed on that weight, but he got the next one. Oh, JF and Brian passed as well, and Jerry got the weight. So
Yeah, Kevin
was the only one who dropped out at that point, and we'd already lost Maxime, hadn't we? Oh, and Luke.
So Brian Shaw's best lift in this was 1,040 pounds.
Yeah.
This is down on what Brian was capable of in his prime. And
Yeah.
I feel a bit of a twat when I kind of talk about Brian's prime, because he's still a great athlete. But when he was winning the Arnolds, when he was winning World's Strongest Man, he was very, very good at the Hummer Deadlift.
Yeah.
I believe he's gone over 1,100 pounds. I know he was pushing Zydrunas on this type of event.
Yeah.
And you could see... the last few years his deadlift is not as good as it used to be.
Since, was it a hamstring injury he had, or a quad? It was one of the two.
It's a hamstring,
Yeah.
And I can vouch, myself.
what
I know
that's
what it's like when you get injured, because you think my best deadlift was years ago,
Yeah.
and then I suffered a bad injury, and it was you can get strong again,
Yeah.
you can get within a certain percentage,
yeah.
but it's hard to get back to that absolute best. So again, Brian putting in a solid performance, making sure he got this lift to help his all-round ability. But this event, it was all about JF Caron and Jerry Pritchard.
Yeah. Honestly, I was blown away. I was like, still going.
Well,
JF.
Jerry is an amazing deadlifter.
Yeah.
But JF was literally getting faster and faster and faster. And one thing that's interesting about the Hummer deadlift, and I really noticed this with Novikov, there's a certain weight where they have 3 Hummer tyres aside. And then they go to a certain weight and it goes to 4. I really should know the weight, so I apologise for that. I'll go back and watch it again.
Exactly, my ass.
But when they go to that first lift, the last lift with 3 to the first lift with 4 tyres, it becomes easier.
It's weird, isn't
and it's because it takes longer for the full weight to come off the floor. It obviously, as the weights go on, it gets harder and harder because you're trying to lock out. But there's one lift
type of weight that's
where
being used.
You're almost best skipping that last one with the 3 tyres aside. And it's funny, I remember Brian telling me this years ago. And it's true. When you watch Novikov, his last rep when there was 3 was really hard. Then it went to four tyres each side of the bar.
Suddenly he was better.
He was better.
Yeah, no, you're
right.
right.
And it's because that the bar gets higher while there's still weight on the floor. So you don't get that full weight up as quick as possible. You almost saw, you noticed it as well, with the 3 tyres aside, it comes up easy. And then suddenly,
there's a sticking
it's like
point.
all the weight kicks in, and you see all the athletes sort of come up, stop, and then continue pulling. Whereas when it gets to 4, it's more of a continuous, smooth pull.
But you know who didn't come up, stop? Bloody JF Karan. Oh my goodness.
He was so strong.
Wasn't he?
I mean, so we just said the world record was 1,155 pounds by Zydrunas.
1,000. Let's flip
There
this.
is 2 men that broke that record in this contest. JF Karan, quite honestly, making £4 more. They went 1,159 pounds.
59.5 pounds.
Okay, 0.5 is very important.
Yes.
Just like the inches that Magnus was talking about.
Every inch counts.
Yeah, but he made that world record lift look easy.
Yeah, he did. It was just, it shot up.
And Jerry was awesome, you know, when you think what some people went out at, and they were still pulling these kind of weights, and then they jumped up another £40 from that.
Yeah, 1,202 pounds. So that's 545.2 kilos.
That's just nuts.
That is nuts.
And I believe he had a little bit more still.
That was the first time we really saw JF work hard.
JF, it was like,
the first time we
okay, now I've got to work hard.
Oh, this is a pain. But he did it, didn't he? He was great.
And unfortunately, I think this lift was the downfall of Jerry for the rest of the comp.
I think so. He
gave it a real good effort. Unfortunately, didn't manage to lock it out. And he looked angry at himself. And it was like, rather than walking away and saving, I mean, not that he can save energy, he's expended a lot of energy going for that effort anyway. But he looked, he's aggressive, and you don't often see this with Jerry. No. But it was as if he needed to try again just to calm himself down. Yeah. And, you know, he gave it a great effort, particularly that first time. The second one, I think we all knew it wasn't going to go up. I think sometimes when your head is in the moment, you just think, I've got to try. Yeah. You know, and he's that type of person. He believes he's capable of being one of the best deadlifters there is. He proved it again. Amazing lift. Broke the existing world record. Yeah. But this event was really all about JF.
Yeah, JF was incredible.
Just unbelievable. Yeah. So top 5 on the deadlift. We had JF Karan taking first place. Jerry Pritchett in second. Adam Bishop with an awesome performance. We know how good Adam is at deadlifting. Yeah. Trey Mitchell. Awesome performance from Trey.
Yeah. Trey surprised me again. I mean, we know Trey's great at the deadlift. He went for, and I know it didn't go his way on the day, but he went for the 400 kilo for reps with Wuss. But he's really, and we know he's great at stones, but I think he's really proving that with his other performance. Yeah, he's the real deal.
I was very impressed with Trey throughout the whole of this show.
Yeah, definitely.
And then tied 5th was Brian Shaw and Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Different type of deadlift, different results. Yeah. And it's, you know, we said that before.
Different equipment rules and...
Yeah. Obviously, World's Strongest Man was an 18-inch deadlift. This is a Hummer deadlift.
Slightly
lower. Different rules. You know, no suits allowed. It all affects things. And
of course.
One thing you've got to respect is when guys like JF, guys like Jerry Pritchett, you put them in any... And Adam Bishop, to be fair.
Yeah.
Any time a deadlift comes up, those guys always
right
at the
there.
top.
Yeah.
So event number 5 was the dumbbell for reps, head to head this time. It was a 110 kilo dumbbell, 242 pounds.
Yeah.
Floor to overhead, so 2 hands, you can put it to your shoulder, then you're going to press it overhead with 1 hand. And I must say, this is the first event where you really saw the altitude affecting the guys.
Yes, yeah.
It was quite obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 or 3 reps in and these guys were breathing heavy.
Yeah.
Much heavier than you'd expect.
Alexi was on the oxygen at one point.
A few of them had the oxygen, didn't they? And, I think, was it Maxime Boudreau went up first?
He had to go first on his own because obviously Terry was out, so they no longer had even numbers.
So Maxime hit about, I think it was 1 or 2 reps.
Yeah,
I thought
it was 2, but the score would suggest it was only 1.
Yeah.
So, you couldn't really tell the results. Like, it wasn't consistent with the announcing of the results, and there were no graphics. But there was, obviously, after each event, a scoreboard, so you could see where people placed.
After that, we had, was it Luke and Kevin head to head?
Yeah, Luke and Kevin both getting 2 reps
both
each.
Getting 2,
yeah.
and it's weird, isn't it, with overhead? You look at Luke, who's so
log.
good on the log.
Yeah.
Dumbbell, different type of event.
Yeah.
Still overhead, and people think it's a shoulder and tricep. Dumbbell is full body movement. It's very technical, a lot more technical than the log. A log, you need a lot more shoulder and tricep strength for, core stability. The dumbbell, it's an explosive movement. You learn to use your whole body. And I mean, you got to give it to the man. Alexei Novikov on this was...
Do you know what was so funny? Because obviously Alexei went up against Brian and he looked like a boy next to Brian. He was literally half the size of him. I'm sure some of it's the camera angle, but he looked tiny next to Brian, didn't he?
Brian is a big man. He does make a lot of people
I know he is.
You've had your picture with Brian before.
I have, just because he's so big.
Yeah.
But,
Alexei getting 8 reps to take the win on this event. Really, really impressive. He went off fast, got himself like a rep ahead of Brian.
Yeah.
And Brian, again, these 2 were head and shoulders above everyone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was
no one was
very
coming
impressive
close to them.
performance by both of these guys.
Yeah.
And one thing that's important to note, I mean, Brian, he can use both hands. Most guys only use the one hand. Alexei just uses the right hand.
Yeah.
And he's very explosive, really gets a lot of leg power into the movement. Brian, a lot more power, if you like, just that strength. He can unlock that a bit more triceps from Brian, but both of them very comfortable under this weight.
Yeah. So Alexei got 8 reps and Brian got 7 on that event.
Yeah. So most guys were about 2 or 3 reps.
Yeah. So the next pairing, Trey and Bish, 2 for Trey, 3 for Bish.
I thought 3 for Bish was really good.
Yeah, I thought so too. Considering how much most of the other guys struggled, that's a great result for Bish.
His overhead is slowly sort of each year just getting that little bit better. If he can bring that up a fraction more, then he's not going to have a weakness.
No,
and he's going to be really
complete.
Yeah, definitely. And the final pairing then, obviously going into this, Jerry Pritchett against JF Karan.
So Jerry leading? I think he was going
Jerry
into this event.
Jerry was leading the contest with these last 2 events.
Yeah.
I think the deadlift. I don't know if it went mentally or if it was just physically exhausted.
Yeah.
Because I would have expected Jerry to get a few reps.
Jerry's mentally tough. It definitely wasn't a mental thing.
No,
Jerry's
maybe.
a tough cookie.
I think. I mean, when you push to the limit on an event, it just leaves you drained.
Yeah.
And it was as if. I mean, he's had 4 events that he's done so well on. I mean, the frame carry was brilliant. His yoke solid. His log was solid. Deadlift was awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
And it was as if he just got to that point.
That was it.
And it was just like empty.
Yeah.
And unfortunately not a rep at all. I don't know if there's more to it. I'm sure we might find out if there's maybe an injury or something like that. But it didn't look like there was any injury.
At the time of recording this, we know nothing of that sort.
So it was a shame because he was doing so well.
Yeah.
And it was as if...
I'm always rooting for Jerry as well because he's never had one of those big wins, has he?
No.
Like,
he's always been like close.
Yeah, but he's
done
such
well
a good
many
athlete.
times.
Yeah.
But unfortunately no reps for Jerry.
No.
JF, on the other hand, being really smart, paced himself. He was going out last. He knew 3 reps was going to be decent points. He knew 4 reps was going to be really good points.
Yeah.
And I believe he knew he wasn't going to get 7 or 8.
No.
So he got 4 in his head, paced himself. Really, you watch it every single rep, he really hammered it up overhead. Locked out solidly.
He didn't want to do any of them twice. A lot of the guys had failed reps, but they had to keep trying. And
so it was a good professional performance from JF, making sure he got good points. He hit the 4 reps that he needed, got
Yes.
3rd place on that event. Obviously, Brian taking 2nd place, Novikov taking the win. So going into the last event, it was really, really tight at the top. You had Brian Shaw in the lead with 37.5 points. 2nd place, JF Caron just 1 point behind, 36.5. And then Novikov on 33 and Jerry in 4th place on 31.5. So the last event was the Atlas Stones.
Yeah.
6 stones ranging from...
From £290 to £450. What's that in kilos?
450 is around 205.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So by this point, all the athletes are pretty battered. You got 6 stones, tough event to finish with. Heavy set of stones, you know, and only 3 guys managing to finish the full all 6. Trey Mitchell, this guy, we keep saying it, but he put in a brilliant performance this weekend. Great. He was the first man to finish all 6.
Yeah.
And then we had JF Caron.
Yeah.
Managed to finish just under the 1 minute time limit. I think he was 59 seconds.
59.7 seconds he did it in, yeah.
And that left Brian Shaw.
So Brian was in a position there where he just had to finish.
He just had to finish.
Yeah, yep. So he just had to finish the stones because there's no way he was going to do it in 59.8, surely not.
No.
So as long as he finished the stones, he was going to win overall.
And I think he probably wanted to win the stones as well. I mean, I think Trey's time was 39-ish?
No, 36.5 seconds Trey was.
Okay.
And then Brian did it in 35.68.
So it was close between those two.
It was, yeah.
He looked like he was being methodical again, making sure not to make any mistakes, and that is something that's very, very easy to do on stones under pressure when there's, titles on the line. Mm-hmm. This is the first ever Shaw Classic. Brian will want to, if he never competes again, he'll have wanted to win this title. He's won everything there is to win. I'm convinced he wants this to be an annual contest to get bigger and bigger. So it's always nice to have your name on the title.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Very, very solid professional performance from Brian.
Alexi was very professional as well. He stopped. He was very concise, wasn't he? Straight after 5 stones, he stopped.
He did 5 fast, didn't he?
Yeah, and he secured his 3rd spot. He knew he couldn't catch the other 2 guys. So what's the point in doing the last stone?
I think he was happy to get on the podium.
Yeah.
I think he did the fastest 5.
He did do the fastest 5, yeah. 31 seconds he did him. Yeah.
And then Brian Shaw finishing all the stones, winning the event, winning the overall as well.
Yeah.
And only winning 1 event.
Yeah, which
shows that consistency, really, really important. We spoke about home advantage and that type of thing, but this was a great competition.
It was.
No funny events that, sometimes you watch people's not home contests, but like contests in your own country even.
Yeah.
Like I've mentioned, I've done Champions Leagues and stuff like that in people's country, and there's these weird kind of events and you need to know how to hold things. And there was none of that. It was all good standard Slater equipment.
Yeah.
Nice events, and I've said that from the start.
Yeah.
Well-deserved winner. It's good to see him on the podium. You could see the athletes afterwards looked happy for him.
Yeah,
which was nice.
It just seemed like everyone was quite happy to be there, and it just looked like a good atmosphere. Nicely ran.
So I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching it. I liked the commentary team. I liked the way it was put together. It was just nice and simple. There was no flashiness to it, but just a nice simple show.
Yeah. Really concise editing. Like if you just want to watch a strongman show, then the days are 1 hour each.
Definitely. I believe you can still go and watch it now, and I suggest you do. It's great knowing the results, but I think watching these things is always better.
Yeah.
I think we enjoyed watching it. We did.
We had a lot of fun. It's been nice to watch some strongman.
It was definitely good to watch it. So I think it's a cool competition. I'd love to see this grow. I want all strongman shows to grow. What am I talking about? I want all of them to get bigger and better. I want more fans come into it.
The good news as well, at this point of recording, the prize fund has gone up to $50,000 from the original $25,000, which is much nicer, isn't it? Obviously, that's the whole entire pot. And Brian's winnings which would have been 15 of that, are going back in to be evenly distributed.
That's cool for the guys that are competing, obviously. So we should address the predictions that we made at the start.
So we should have probably set clear rules.
I believe that I got the right winner.
You got the right winner. We both got 2 out of 3 of the podiums.
Yeah.
I should have just followed my heart and gone with JF. It's you. I listened to you. I should never listen to you. Yeah, so I predicted Alexi would win. What else did I predict? Brian second and Jerry third.
And
Jerry was on track.
I predicted Brian to win.
Yes.
Novikov second.
Yes.
And I believe I said Jerry third as well.
Yes.
So actually, I'm the only one that got a position right. We both got a third. Well, we got 2 people in the top.
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Just not in the right position. Not for me anyway.
and JF's told me I can never predict him to win a competition ever again.
No, that's it.
That's it. I've just got to
He's
neglect
the underdog again.
Yeah.
Go back down there.
So I'll let the fans decide, but I think or the followers decide. I think a forfeit is needed.
Oh yeah, a very gentle forfeit there.
No head shaving. Okay?
No.
We're not going to make Liz shave her head.
No.
And
or dye my hair black. That's quite a big life decision, I think, for me. For someone who has been blonde
I think
her
we need
whole
to get
life.
Liz doing something in the gym. Because you hate the gym.
I do.
And this is a strongman channel.
Yeah.
You need to be doing something in the gym.
Nothing strong there.
Well, you'll struggle to do anything strong.
Rude.
I've seen Liz bench pressing. It's
Oh please, yeah, but other lifts weren't so bad.
No, you
squat.
squat. Your overhead was alright. Liz has put like 50 kilos overhead.
55, you bastard.
Yeah, when you were training, which is it's not too bad.
No,
and
for a
Liz is
week.
not someone that you like strongman in terms of watching it
Yeah,
and
don't like
me
training
doing
it.
But no, she's one of those. They'll tell.
I can tell you how to do something because I've heard him say it so many times.
But then she'll tell me how to do it when I mess it up as well. You should have done this, Loz, in the last competition. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed our review. We're going to take our domestic elsewhere.
Yeah,
And we won't let you guys suffer. But no, it was a good show. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was.
We'll be back with...
Well done, Brian.
Yeah, we'll be back with lots more strength action soon. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.